Stop what you're doing for a second and listen. I want you to look inside your mind right now and face a truth that most people refuse to admit. Your thoughts are either building you up or tearing you down. They are either creating the life you want or holding you hostage in a prison of doubt, fear, and limitation. And the worst part is, most people don't even realize how much power they are giving to the negative voice inside their head. That voice that says, you can't, you're not ready. This is too hard. That voice that tells you to quit before you even start. That voice that convinces you to settle, to hide, to shrink, to stay small. That voice is loud. It is relentless. It is sneaky, and it will control your life if you let it. But what if I told you that you don't have to live like that anymore? What if I told you that you can take every thought that tries to weaken you, every doubt that tries to stop you, every fear that whispers you're not enough, and turn it into fire, into fuel, into unstoppable momentum? What if I told you that your mind can be your greatest weapon, and that the very thing that has been holding you back is the key to your breakthrough? The moment you understand this, the moment you stop surrendering to negative thinking, everything changes. The way you see yourself changes. The way you move in the world changes. The way the world responds to you changes. I know it's not easy. I know the voice in your head has been lying to you for years. I know it has convinced you that you're not capable, not strong enough, not smart enough, not ready. I know it has built walls around your potential and chained you to comfort, to fear, to hesitation. And I know that if you continue to listen, nothing will ever change. But here's the thing. The power is in your hands. Right now, at this very moment, you have a choice. You can continue to give into that voice, or you can stand up, take control, and say, not today. I am done letting negative thinking control my life. I am done letting fear define my limits. I am done waiting for permission to be great. I am taking my mind back, my power back, my life back. This is more than motivation. This is more than words on a screen. This is a call to war against every thought that has ever tried to stop you. Every doubt that has ever whispered you're not enough. Every fear that has held you back. You are about to learn how to kill negative thinking at its root. You are about to learn how to feed your mind with strength, focus, and clarity. You are about to learn how to turn obstacles into fuel and use every challenge as a stepping stone towards your ultimate victory. You are about to learn how to stop waiting for a better mood, better timing, or better circumstances, and start creating results no matter what your feelings say. So lean in, pay attention, open your mind. What you are about to hear will challenge you. It will push you. It will shake you. And if you allow it, it will transform you. By the end of this, negative thinking will no longer have a home in your mind. You will see yourself differently. You will move differently. You will live differently. This is not for the faint of heart. This is not for those who want comfort. This is not for those who want comfort. This is for the ones who are ready to dominate, to conquer, and to finally take control of the one thing no one can ever take from you, your mind. Your time starts now. You cannot defeat what you cannot see. That is the truth about your mind. Negative thinking is a silent killer. It creeps into your life, disguised as reality, as logic, as truth, whispering to you that you are not enough, that your dreams are too big, that you are unworthy, that the obstacles are too high, that failure is inevitable. The first step to killing this negativity is awareness. And I do not mean a casual awareness. I mean a full, relentless, merciless awareness that shines a harsh light on every corner of your mind. You have to see it for what it really is. You cannot fight what you cannot recognize. This means sitting with yourself, unflinching and observing every thought that tries to sabotage your life. It is uncomfortable, it is painful, and it is necessary. You have to stare into your own mind and identify the lies. You have to stare into your own mind and identify the lies you have been believing for far too long. Awareness is not simply noticing that you are thinking negatively. It is the brutal acknowledgement that these thoughts are controlling you, that when fear tells you to quit, you have been obeying it without question. When doubt tells you that you can't, you have been accepting it as fact. When regret or shame enters your mind, you have been letting it sit, fester, and define who you are. Awareness means catching yourself in the act. It means refusing to let your thoughts run the show while you sit quietly, pretending nothing is wrong. It is about waking up and realizing that the enemy is not outside of you. The enemy is inside, and the enemy has been wearing the disguise of your old thinking. You must track your thoughts, write them down if you have to. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. What do you say to yourself when no one is watching? What does your mind repeat over and over? These are the chains that bind you, and until you identify them, they are invisible, untouchable, untamable. Awareness is what makes them tangible. Awareness gives you the power to see each negative thought as exactly what it is, an intruder in your mind that wants to keep you small, weak, and bare. And when you see it, when you name it, you strip it of the power to control you. The problem is most people live in denial. They think that thinking negatively is normal. They say everyone thinks like this, or it's just how I am. That is the excuse of the weak, the shield of the uncommitted, the lie that allows you to stay stuck. Awareness destroys that excuse. It forces you to confront reality, that your thoughts are not random, that they are patterns you have been feeding, that they are choices you have been making unconsciously. And once you recognize this, you cannot go back to pretending. Once you see the way your mind has been undermining your life, you either act or you accept a life of mediocrity. Awareness gives you no option to remain passive. It is the first battle, and it is a battle that will determine everything else that follows. Be brutally honest with yourself. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop blaming other people. Stop blaming the world. Negative thinking thrives in the soil of excuses. Awareness means you hold yourself accountable for every thought that has made you feel powerless, every thought that has paralyzed you, every thought that has stopped you from going after your goals. Do not shy away from it. Name the thought. Call it what it is. I am afraid to start. I am worried I will fail. I am not good enough. When you verbalize it, even in your mind, you separate yourself from it. You start to see it as an object, not as an identity. You start to see that your mind is not a prison. It is a battlefield, and now you know where the enemy is hiding. This is where discipline begins. Awareness without action is useless, but action cannot exist without awareness. Before you can attack negativity, you must know it. Before you can silence it, you must hear it. Before you can replace it with power, you must identify its voice. And that is what awareness does. It shines a bright light on every sneaky, creeping thought that wants to control your life. It gives you a map of the battlefield. It gives you a map of the battlefield and allows you to understand your triggers, to notice the thoughts that appear when fear strikes, when failure threatens, when rejection stings. Awareness teaches you to recognize the patterns before they dictate your behavior. You can learn to intercept your thoughts before they become words, before words become actions, before actions become regrets. Understand that this process is uncomfortable. Your mind will resist. You will feel the urge to look away, to ignore, to distract yourself with noise, entertainment, or social media. That is the exact trap negativity wants you to fall into. You cannot hide. Awareness demands that you face yourself, and in doing so, you will see not just the negative thoughts, but the roots of them. Past failures, old beliefs, toxic voices you've allowed to echo in your head for too long. You will confront the truth that some of the walls holding you back are built by your own hands. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You cannot pretend. The choice becomes clear. Continue feeding the negativity or rise above it with intention, clarity, and purpose. Finally, awareness is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong practice. You will have to fight to maintain it every single day. Negative thoughts do not disappear permanently. Negative thoughts do not disappear permanently. They return. They return. They lurk in the corners of your mind. They try to sneak in when you are tired, distracted, or insecure. Awareness is your radar. It is your ability to detect them instantly, to confront them before they take root, to refuse to give them power. Each time you catch yourself, each time you name the thought, each time you refuse to obey it, you strengthen your mind and you reinforce the truth that you are the master of your thinking, not the other way around. So awareness is the first step because you cannot kill what you cannot see. You cannot conquer your mind if you refuse to face it. Awareness is not passive. It is active. It is relentless. It is uncomfortable. It is the first strike in the war against negative thinking. Once you embrace it, once you stare into the truth of your own mind, once you refuse to excuse, justify, or hide from it, you arm yourself with the knowledge that empowers action, fuels transformation, and sets the stage for a life that is no longer dictated by fear, doubt, or limitation. Awareness is the spark. Awareness is the fire starter. Awareness is the first victory. And it is the moment you begin to take back your life. You have to understand this truth. Your mind is a kingdom, and you are the gatekeeper. Every thought, every idea, every voice that enters your consciousness passes through your mental gates. Yet most people live as though these gates are open for anyone and anything to wander in fear, doubt, anxiety, self-pity, regret, negativity. They walk in freely and you greet them like honored guests. But here's the brutal reality. You are giving permission for your own destruction. You have been handing over the keys to the most dangerous invader you will ever face, your own thoughts. And the moment you realize that you hold the keys, that you alone control who enters and who stays, is the moment everything begins to change. You are not a passive victim of your circumstances. You are not a puppet of your environment. You are not doomed because of what has happened to you or what others think of you. Your mind is the battlefield and you are the commander. If you do not defend it, it will be overrun. If you do not control it, you will live in chains of your own making. Being the gatekeeper of your mind requires vigilance. It requires a constant awareness of what you allow to take root. Allow thoughts are like seeds. They grow. If you allow fear to enter, it will take root and flourish until it chokes your ambition. If you allow doubt to enter, it will multiply until it paralyzes your every move. If you allow excuses in, they will spread like weeds, strangling your potential. But here is the key. No seed can grow without your permission. No thought fight. No thought can dominate you unless you nurture it. You have been nurturing thoughts of limitation, scarcity, and failure without even realizing it. You have allowed every I can't and I'm not enough to become the rulers of your mind while you stand by, unaware, thinking this is normal. It is not normal. It is weakness. And you have the power to stop it. You have the power to close the gates and decide exactly what is allowed to shape your reality. The gatekeeper does not allow just any thought to pass. The gatekeeper is discerning, relentless, and uncompromising. When fear knocks, you challenge it. When doubt whispers, you interrogate it. When negativity tries to sneak in, dressed as truth, you expose it for the lie it is. Every thought that enters your mind must be weighed, tested, and either allowed to inspire action or rejected outright. You must refuse to entertain thoughts that do not serve your purpose, that do not move you closer to your goals, that do not elevate you to the person you are capable of becoming. This is not easy. The mind is clever. It is persistent. It will try to trick you to sneak in, disguised as concern, as realism, as common sense. But the gatekeeper sees through the disguise. The gatekeeper refuses to let mediocrity in. The gatekeeper is ruthless because your future depends on it. Too many people blame the world for their failures, blaming jobs, opportunities, relationships, or circumstances. But the truth is that the first battle is inside. Before you can conquer the outside, you must conquer the inside. Every time you give negative thoughts free rein, you are handing the battlefield to your enemy. Every time you fail to guard your mind, you are giving up power that was always yours. You are not a victim. You are a warrior. And warriors do not let intruders roam freely. Warriors stand at the gates, vigilant and unyielding. The gatekeeper does not take breaks. It does not sleep. It does not entertain distractions or excuses. You cannot afford to. Your mind is too valuable to leave undefended. The gatekeeper also understands that action and thought are inseparable. You cannot simply think positive thoughts one day and expect your life to transform overnight. You must actively reject destructive thoughts as they arise and replace them with constructive ones. You must train your mind like an elite athlete trains their body. You must be conscious, intentional, and aggressive in shaping your inner dialogue. When doubt says, you can't do this, the gatekeeper responds with, I will prove you wrong. When fear says, you'll fail, the gatekeeper responds with, failure is a lesson, not a sentence. Every thought that passes through your mental gates must either fuel your growth all be denied entry. Anything less is surrender. Anything less is weakness. Anything less is weakness, and less is living a life dictated by others instead of taking command of your own destiny. Understand that the mind is a battlefield, but you are not powerless. You have been given authority over your thoughts. You have the ability to decide which ones are allowed to remain and which ones are dismissed. And this authority is not theoretical. It is practical. It is actionable. It is immediate. Every moment that you catch a negative thought, you have the choice to either entertain it and let it grow, or reject it and replace it with a thought that empowers you. The gatekeeper does not wait. The gatekeeper acts instantly, because hesitation allows the enemy to gain ground. And the more ground fear and doubt take, the harder it is to reclaim your mind. You must be quick. You must be decisive. You must be relentless. Being the gatekeeper also means taking responsibility for the environment you allow into your mind. The people you surround yourself with, the media you consume, the conversations you entertain, all of these are invitations to your mental gates. If you allow constant complaining, negativity, and laziness to surround you, do not be surprised when your own mind adopts the same patterns. But if you guard your mind, if you choose your input wisely, if you allow only what serves, motivates, and empowers to enter, your mind becomes a fortress. Your thoughts then become your weapons, your strategies, your fuel. You can attack challenges with clarity, focus, and precision. You can navigate adversity without losing control. You can rise above limitations that once seemed insurmountable, because your mind is no longer a battlefield of chaos. It is a command center of power. And here's the most powerful truth. Being the gatekeeper of your mind is not temporary. It is not a one-time victory. It is a lifelong commitment. Every day, thoughts will come to test your strength. Every day, fear, doubt, and negativity will try to sneak in, dressed in new disguises. Every day you will be challenged. But the more you practice, the stronger you become. The more you exercise your authority over your mind, the less power destructive thoughts have. The more you act as the gatekeeper, the more your life aligns with your potential. You will discover that you are unstoppable, not because the world has been kind to you, but because your mind is yours to command. You are no longer a passenger in your own life. You are the driver. You are the warrior. You are the gatekeeper. So remember this. Rethought is a visitor. Not every visitor deserves entry. The gatekeeper decides. The gatekeeper protects. The gatekeeper protects. The gatekeeper wins. When you take this role seriously, when you claim authority over your mind, you no longer have to be at the mercy of fear, doubt, or negativity. You have power. You have control. You have freedom. And once you claim that power, you will discover that the only limits that existed were the ones you allowed inside. Be vigilant, be relentless, and be unapologetically the master of your mind. Your destiny depends on it. You cannot sit around hoping negative thinking will disappear on its own. You cannot meditate, wish, or pray your way out of the chains that fear and doubt have wrapped around your mind. Negative thoughts are not passive. They are predators. They feed on inaction, on hesitation, on the moments when you allow yourself to linger and worry instead of moving forward. The only way to kill them, the only way to reclaim your life is to replace them with action. You see, thoughts alone have no power unless you give them a stage to perform on. Negativity becomes deadly only when it leads to paralysis. Action is the antidote. Action is the weapon. Action is the fire that burns the bridges to fear and doubt and lights the path to your potential. Every moment you spend entertaining negative thoughts is a moment wasted. Every I can't, every I'm not enough, every this is too hard grows louder in your mind the longer you sit still. But the moment you act, the moment you step forward, the moment you step forward, the moment you push yourself to do something, anything, you begin to silence the negativity. Action does not have to be perfect. Action does not have to be monumental. Action simply has to exist. Every small step you take against fear, every small victory over doubt, every task completed when your mind screams, you can't, is a hammer strike in the wall that negativity has built around you. You break it piece by piece with deliberate motion, with relentless energy, with unyielding focus. Understand this. Replacing negativity with action requires courage. Most people think courage is something that comes naturally, that you either have it or you don't. But courage is a decision. Courage is a muscle. And like any muscle, it grows stronger with use. The first time you act in spite of fear, the first time you take a step when doubt tries to hold you back, you feel the resistance. You feel the tension in your chest, the sweat on your brow, the voice inside that says, you can't do this. And yet you move anyway. That moment, that single decision to act is the moment you begin to dismantle the power of negative thinking. Action confronts thought in a way that words cannot. Action silences the internal critic because it transforms abstract fear into concrete motion. You cannot underestimate the connection between thought and motion. Negativity thrives in stagnation. It grows stronger when your body sits still, when your hands are idle, when your mind is allowed to wander without direction. Movement is the language of progress, the dialect of victory. When you act, you are telling your mind that your reality will not be dictated by fear, by doubt, by hesitation. You are telling yourself that the opinions, criticisms, and doubts that exist in your head are temporary and powerless. You are telling yourself that the only thing that matters is what you do, not what you think. And this is liberating because action, unlike thought, cannot lie. Action speaks in results. Action demonstrates capability. Action transforms potential into reality. Replace negativity with intentional, purposeful action. Do not act randomly. Do not move just to move. Move with precision, with purpose, with relentless focus on the results you seek. Every step, redecision, every moment of effort is an arrow fired at the heart of fear. Every task completed in the face of doubt is a declaration of war against the inner voice that tells you you are not enough. And when you make action your default response to negative thinking, you build momentum that becomes unstoppable. Thoughts can attempt to derail you, but momentum, once established, crushes resistance. Momentum transforms hesitation into discipline, transforms worry into courage, transforms potential into achieve. You must also understand that action is not always easy, and that is exactly why it works. Negativity has conditioned you to seek comfort, to avoid discomfort, to run from challenges. But action forces you into discomfort, and discomfort is the crucible where strength is forged. The more you act in spite of fear, the more you act in spite of doubt, the more you act when everything inside you screams to quit, the more you build the unshakable confidence that your mind, your body, and your spirit are not bound by limitation. You are capable of far more than you have allowed yourself to believe. And action is the bridge between your current reality and your potential. Replacing negativity with action also requires consistency. One brave act is not enough to kill the patterns that have been ingrained in your mind for years. You must act daily. You must act intentionally. You must respond to every negative thought, not with arguments, not with logic, not with denial, but with motion. The moment you feel doubt creeping in, the moment fear raises its voice, the moment you hear the internal critic, act. Take one step, make one call, send one message, write one word, lift one weight, run 1 mile, push one boundary. Every action is a declaration that you are no longer a prisoner to your own mind. Every action teaches your brain that motion is a response to fear, that courage is the response to doubt, that results are the response to negativity. The key here is to replace mental energy with physical energy. Thoughts alone are hollow, fragile, and powerless. Action gives them weight, shape, and direction. It converts the abstract into the tangible. It converts despair into productivity. It converts hesitation into results. When you act, negative thoughts lose their grip because they no longer have the power to define you. You are no longer imagining your limitations. You are confronting them with effort, sweat, persistence, and unwavering commitment. You are no longer a spectator in your own life. You are a warrior on the battlefield of your potential. You also must accept that action will be imperfect. You will stumble. You will fail. You will make mistakes. That is not the enemy. That is the training ground. Imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. The greatest victories The most extraordinary lives are not built by thinking alone. They are built by doing, by moving, by acting consistently, in spite of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. The more you act, the less power negative thinking has. The more you move, the more momentum you build. The more momentum you build, the faster you break free from the mental chains that have been holding you down for years. So here's the truth. You cannot wait for motivation to come. You cannot wait for fear to vanish. You cannot wait for doubt to disappear. You act anyway. You move anyway. You fight anyway. Action is the hammer that destroys negativity. Action is the fire that burns doubt. Action is the proof that you are stronger than your fears, bigger than your limitations, and more capable than you have allowed yourself to believe. Replace negativity with action, and you take control of your life. Replace negativity with action, and you no longer live at the mercy of your thoughts. Replace negativity with action, and you become unstoppable, unshakable, and undeniably powerful. Your mind is filled with beliefs, many of them inherited, many of them forged through fear, failure, and the opinions of others. Some of these beliefs are true, but many of them are lies, disguised as reality, disguised as caution, disguised as common sense. They tell you what you can't do, what you shouldn't try, what you're not capable of. They whisper that your dreams are too big, that your goals are unattainable, that your potential is limited. And here is the brutal truth. If you do not challenge these beliefs, they will control your life. They will dictate your actions, your choices, your results. They will chain you to mediocrity and convince you that the life you desire is impossible. Every thought that tells you you can't, every voice that says this is too hard, is a belief that has gone unchallenged for too long. And until you confront it, you will never break free. Thought fight. Challenging your beliefs begins with awareness. You must first identify what you believe and then examine why you believe it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Or is this a story I've been telling myself for years? Most people never question their beliefs. They accept them as facts. They assume that because a thought has existed in their mind for a long time, it must be true. But truth is not measured by time. Truth is measured by reality, by results, by proof. When a belief limits your life, when it keeps you small, when it stops you from pursuing what you want, it is not a truth. It is a lie. And lies, no matter how deeply ingrained, can be dismantled when you confront them with courage, clarity, and relentless questioning. The process of challenging your beliefs is uncomfortable, even painful. It forces you to look at your life honestly, to see the ways in which you have allowed your thoughts to dictate your results. You must confront the gap between who you are and who you claim you want to be. You must stare at the fear that has been hiding behind realism and expose it for what it is. You will feel resistance because beliefs are like walls. They feel solid. They feel safe. They feel permanent. But walls are meant to be broken. If a belief keeps you from action, it is not a protection. It is not a protection. It is a prison. And the only way out is to smash it brick by brick, thought by thought, until your mind is free to expand and grow in ways it never has before. Challenging your beliefs requires brutal honesty. You cannot fool yourself. You cannot soften the truth. You must be willing to admit that some of what you have been told, some of what you have been telling yourself, is holding you back. You must ask, is this belief serving me or is it sabotaging me? You must evaluate whether the limits you accept are your own or imposed by others. Most people live their entire lives accepting limits that were never theirs to begin with. They obey the rules of fear, of doubt, of expectation, without ever stopping to ask whether they are real. When you challenge your beliefs, you tear those artificial limits down. You reclaim authority over your mind, over your potential, over your life. To challenge a belief, you must confront evidence, both past and present. Look at the moments when you doubted yourself but succeeded anyway. Look at the skills, talents, and resilience that you have demonstrated over and over. Look at the opportunities you have created for yourself, even when circumstances were stacked against you. The evidence is there, but your beliefs have been ignoring it. Your beliefs have been telling you that failure defines you, that mistakes are proof of limitation, that your past is a chain that will always bind you. But the truth is that failure is a lesson. Mistakes are stepping stones. And your past is not a sentence. It is a foundation for growth. When you challenge your beliefs, you force your mind to align with reality, not fear. You force your mind to recognize that you are capable, that you are worthy, and that you are strong enough to exceed even the highest expectations you have set for yourself. Challenging your beliefs is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong process. Every day, new thoughts will arise, new fears will whisper, new doubts will threaten to take root. You must be vigilant. You must interrogate every thought that tells you, you can't do this, this is impossible, or you are not enough. Do not accept it. Do not internalize it. Challenge it. Test it. Ask for proof. Demand results. Refuse to obey unproven limitations. Your beliefs are your reality. And if you allow them to remain unchecked, they will create a reality that is small, constrained, and unfulfilled. But when you challenge them, you create a reality of possibility, of power, of relentless forward motion. Challenging your beliefs also requires courage to act in the face of discomfort. Beliefs are comforting, even when they are destructive. They allow you to rationalize in action, to justify fear, to avoid risk. But action exposes those lies. Action proves them wrong. Action shatters the walls of limitation that your mind has built. Every time you take a step toward your goal, every time you push beyond what you thought was possible, you send a message to your mind. This belief is false. This doubt is powerless. This fear is irrelevant. Beliefs are not reality. Beliefs are not reality. Action is reality. Beliefs can guide you, yes, but if left unchallenged, they can also imprison you. Most powerful tool in challenging beliefs is repetition. You must consistently question, confront, and replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Affirm not what you fear, but what you are capable of. Reinforce the belief that you are strong, resilient, unstoppable, and relentless. Surround yourself with evidence of possibility. Read stories of people who defied the odds. Immerse yourself in environments that cultivate growth and engage with individuals who challenge you to rise above your limits. Every input you accept strengthens the new beliefs you are cultivating and weakens the old, destructive ones. Finally, understand that challenging your beliefs transforms more than your mind. It transforms your life. Once you start to question, to test, to push past limits, everything changes. You will act with courage instead of hesitation, with conviction instead of doubt, with focus instead of distraction. Your relationships, your career, your health, your ambitions, they all respond to the expansion of your mind. Limiting beliefs are not just mental barriers. They are the chains that hold your entire life hostage. When you smash them, when you challenge them, when you refuse to accept anything less than your potential, you unlock doors that you didn't even know existed. You discover that the only limits that ever mattered were the ones you allowed to live inside your me. And 10, challenging your beliefs is not easy. It is uncomfortable. It is disruptive. It forces you to confront fear, doubt, failure, and the opinions of those who have tried to define you. But it is necessary. It is essential. It is a path to power, clarity, and unstoppable momentum. If you refuse to challenge your beliefs, you remain a prisoner to thought, a victim to circumstance, and a spectator in your own life. If you embrace it, you step into freedom, into possibility, and into the full expression of your potential. Challenge your beliefs relentlessly. Question everything. Reject lies. Replace doubt with proof, fear with action, and limitation with possibility. Your life depends on it. Your mind is a garden, and whatever you plant in it will grow. If you constantly feed it negativity, fear, doubt, and criticism, that is exactly what will flourish. Your thoughts will become weeds, choking your ambition, suffocating your confidence, and keeping you trapped in a cycle of stagnation. But if you feed your mind positivity, encouragement, resilience, and empowerment, your potential will grow into something unstoppable. Too many people underestimate this principle. They assume that their mind will automatically generate greatness, that inspiration will strike randomly, that motivation is external, but your mind does not produce victory on its own. Victory is cultivated, success is nurtured, and the nutrients of that cultivation or the ideas, beliefs, and influences you allow to saturate your consciousness. Feed your mind with the right fuel and it will reward you with the power, clarity, and energy to conquer anything. Feeding your mind with positivity is not just about thinking happy thoughts. It is not about wishful thinking or pretending everything is fine when it is not. Positivity is a weapon. Positivity is preparation. Positivity is strategy. It is the deliberate seed poised to surround yourself with input that elevates you rather than diminishes you. Every book you read, every video you watch, every conversation you participate in, these are mental meals, and they either nourish or poison you. And you allow yourself to consume content that reinforces limitation, fear, and self-doubt. You are choosing weakness. When you intentionally consume content that inspires, challenges, and empowers you, you are choosing strength. This is not optional. Your results, your mindset, and ultimately your life are the direct reflection of what you feed your mind. You must guard the gates of your mind vigilantly. Negativity is everywhere. It comes disguised as advice, as realism, as news, as social media, as gossip. Every day, your mental space is under siege by ideas that are designed to depress, distract, and destroy you. Most people allow these ideas in because they do not recognize their danger. They think this is normal, or everyone else consumes this, so I can too. That is the recipe for mediocrity. To feed your mind with positivity, you must be selective. You must choose carefully what is allowed to enter, what is absorbed, and what is internalized. Your mind is too valuable to leave unprotected. The quality of your thoughts and ultimately the quality of your life depends entirely on this vigilance. Positivity is also about action. Reading, listening, or observing its inspiration is only the first step. You must take what you absorb and turn it into momentum. You must convert thought into behavior. When you feed your mind with empowering input, it creates a foundation for extraordinary action. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You begin to find solutions where others see problems. Where others see problems. You begin to push harder, reach higher, and move faster than you ever imagined because your mental environment has been cultivated to upward greatness. Positivity is not passive. It demands response, application, and relentless execution. Another critical component is the people you allow into your mental ecosystem. The individuals you spend the most time with are either feeding your mind or starving it. They either plant seeds of growth or seeds of limitation. Surround yourself with those who challenge you, encourage you, and reflect the best version of yourself back to you. Distance yourself from those who criticize without purpose, who spread fear and doubt, who drain energy without giving anything constructive in return. Feeding your mind with positivity is as much about protecting it from poison as it is about introducing nourishment. This is where discipline comes into play. You cannot be passive about who and what you allow into your life. You must be deliberate. You must be intentional. You must be aggressive in choosing the influences that shape your thoughts. Feeding your mind with positivity also means creating rituals that reinforce focus, clarity, and resilience. Daily practices such as reading, journaling, visualization, meditation, and affirmations are not fluff. They are the fertilizer for your mental garden. They are the tools that allow you to cultivate growth deliberately day after day in the face of adversity, distraction, and doubt. Every repetition strengthens neural pathways that support confidence, courage, and determination. Every consistent practice builds resilience against the inevitable negative thoughts and external pressures that will attempt to take root in your mind. Positivity is built through action. Through ritual, through deliberate reinforcement of the beliefs and behaviors that lead to success. Understand that feeding your mind with positivity does not mean ignoring reality. It does not mean pretending that challenges do not exist. Life will hit you. Obstacles will come. People will doubt you. Circumstances will push against you. But when your mind is cultivated with positivity, you do not crumble. You do not surrender. You do not allow fear or doubt to dictate your next move. Positivity strengthens your mental immunity. It allows you to see challenges as opportunities, to convert setbacks into lessons, to transform criticism into fuel, and to remain unwavering in the pursuit of your goals. Your mental diet determines your emotional and behavioral resilience. And the stronger your mind, the more unstoppable you become. You also must feed your mind actively and consistently. Negativity will try to creep back in. Old fears, old doubts, and old limitations will attempt to resurface, often disguised as facts or realism. You must reinforce your mental walls with positivity every day. You must remind yourself of your strength, your potential, your past victories, and your vision for the future. Every affirmation, every affirmation, every empowering thought, every deliberate exposure to greatness is like adding another brick to the fortress of your mind. And every day you neglect this practice is a day that negativity can creep back, reclaim space, and weaken the mental muscles you have been building. Finally, understand the transformative power of feeding your mind with positivity. When your thoughts are dominated by constructive, empowering ideas, your behavior changes, your results change, and your life changes. You become proactive instead of reactive. You pursue instead of waiting. You create instead of complaining. You rise above what once held you down because your mental environment is no launch pad. You have replaced the weeds of fear, doubt, and limitation with the seeds of courage, clarity, and determination. With the seeds of courage, clarity, and determination. You have nurtured a mind that will not be easily swayed, shaken, or broken. You have built a foundation for unstoppable momentum and relentless growth. So feed your mind with positivity, relentlessly, consistently, and aggressively. Guard it from poison. Fill it with ideas, people, and practices that strengthen your belief in yourself and your potential. Take action on what you absorb. Reinforce the beliefs that lead to victory. Reject every thought, influence, and habit that seeks to limit you. Do not underestimate this principle. The quality of your mental diet determines the quality of your life, the velocity of your progress, and the magnitude of your impact. Feed your mind with positivity, and you do not just survive, you dominate. You do not just cope, you thrive. You do not just exist, you conquer. Too many people let their feelings dictate their actions. They walk, wake up tired and decide to stay in bed. They feel anxious or unmotivated and postpone the work that will move their lives forward. They feel discouraged and quit before they've even given themselves a chance. This is the trap of mood-based living. You cannot let how you feel control what you do. If you wait for the perfect emotion, the perfect moment, or the perfect mindset, you will wait forever. Life does not wait for your feelings. The world does not pause for your comfort. If you want to win, if you want to achieve, if you want to rise above, you must act regardless of how you feel. This is the principle of persistence over mood, and it is the key to mastery of your mind and your life. Persistence over mood is about discipline, not desire. Desire is fleeting. It comes and goes with your feelings, your energy, and your circumstances. Discipline is unwavering. It shows up whether you feel like it or not. The most successful people do not wait until they feel motivated. They act every day, consistently, relentlessly. They take steps toward their goals, even when every cell in their body is screaming to stop. Even when the mind tries to convince them that today is not the day, even when the world seems heavy and unrelenting. This is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Ordinary people let mood decide. Extraordinary people let persistence define them. To practice persistence, define them. To practice persistence over mood, you must understand that feelings are temporary, but results are permanent. When fear, doubt, or fatigue enters your mind, it is just a signal, not a sentence. It is a test, not a verdict. Negative emotions are meant to challenge you to see if you will bend, break, or bow. But when you choose persistence over mood, you refuse to yield. A dog fight. You push through the discomfort, the resistance, the internal resistance that tries to convince you that quitting is easier, that avoiding action is safer, that waiting is wiser. Every time you act in spite of your feelings, every time you take the first step when your mind is screaming, stop. You strengthen the muscle of resilience. You build a habit of action regardless of emotion. Understand that persistence over mood requires mental toughness. Your emotions will lie to you. They will tell you that you are too weak, too tired, too incapable, too unlucky, too unprepared. They will create excuses that seem logical, believable, and comforting, but in reality, they are traps designed to keep you small. You must recognize these lies for what they are and act anyway. You must cultivate a mindset that prioritizes results over comfort. You must value the outcome more than the momentary relief of avoiding effort. Every time you act, despite how you feel, you chip away at the power of mood and you replace it with the discipline that is unstoppable, unshakable, and relentless. Persistence over mood also means consistency in the face of adversity. Life will challenge you. The road will be rough. Obstacles will appear and your mind will scream for reprieve. You will encounter setbacks, failures, disappointments, and delays. Your mood will naturally shift with these circumstances. You will feel frustration, anger, sadness, or exhaustion. But discipline does not care about your feelings. Discipline does not negotiate. Discipline does not pause when life becomes difficult. Discipline acts anyway. And it is through this relentless consistency that mastery is achieved. Momentum is built. Skills are sharpened. Goals are realized. But success does not belong to those who wait to feel good. It belongs to those who persist regardless of feeling. You must also understand that persistence over mood is cumulative. Every time you choose action over comfort, every time you choose action over comfort, every time you choose effort over ease, you create a compound effect in your life. Small actions repeated consistently lead to massive results. The difference between someone who achieves and someone who dreams is really talent or opportunity. It is persistence. It is the refusal to let emotions dictate actions. It is the commitment to do what must be done day in and day out, whether you feel motivated or not. And the more you practice this, the easier it becomes because your mind begins to associate action with identity, not mood. You are no longer someone who acts when inspired. You are someone who acts, period. Persistence over mood also builds confidence. Every time you act despite feeling unmotivated or discouraged, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your emotions, bigger than your doubts, and more capable than your fears. You teach yourself that success is not a matter of feeling ready. It is a matter of taking the step, doing the work, and refusing to quit. And the more evidence you build through repeated action, the more your mind believes in your ability to overcome, to persevere, and to conquer. Confidence is not built on feelings. It is built on proof, and the proof comes from persistence. You cannot rely on inspiration alone. Inspiration is fleeting. It is a spark, not a fire. You cannot wait for inspiration to act because it will come and go without warning. But discipline, persistence, and the ability to act regardless of mood are permanent forces. They are the engines of progress. They are the foundations of achievement. Every person who has ever reached the top of their field, every person who has ever realized their potential has learned to act despite fear, despite doubt, despite fatigue, despite discomfort. They do not wait for mood. They create results. To embody persistence over mood, you must adopt a mindset that prioritizes execution. You must focus on what you can control, your actions, your effort, your consistency, and let go of what you cannot control, like how you feel or how easy life is. You must set standards for yourself that are non-negotiable. No matter how tired you feel, no matter how discouraged you are, you show up, you put in the work, you move forward, you act, and over time, this commitment transforms your life. Your goals no longer seem distant. Your challenges no longer seem insurmountable. You become unstoppable because your persistence is no longer tied to the whims of emotion. It is anchored in the unbreakable foundation of discipline. Finally, understand that persistence over mood is not optional if you want to win. Life will challenge you in ways that make you want to quit. Your emotions will attempt to sabotage your progress. Your mind will test your resolve, but the choice is yours. Will you surrender to how you feel, or will you act anyway? Will you allow moods to control your destiny, or will you rise above them with relentless persistence? Every action you take in spite of your feelings strengthens your mind, fortifies your spirit, and builds the life you desire. Your emotions do not define your potential. Your persistence does. Choose action. Choose consistency. Choose discipline. Choose persistence over mood. and you become unstoppable. Life will throw obstacles in your path. That is not a question. That is not an opinion. That is not a maybe. It is a fact. You will face challenges, setbacks, betrayals, failures, and moments that seem designed to break you. The question is not whether obstacles will come. It is how you respond when they do. Most people see obstacles as roadblocks, as reasons to quit, as signs that they are not meant to succeed. But you, if you choose to embrace this principle, will see obstacles differently. You will see them as fuel. You will see them as the fire that powers your growth, the force that propels you forward, the energy that transforms your dreams into reality. Turning obstacles into fuel is a mindset, a discipline, and a choice, and it separates the wheat from tea. Be strong, the ordinary from the extraordinary, the dreamers from the doers. Obstacles are not punishments. They are tests. Every challenge, every setback, every failure is a measure of your commitment, your resilience, and your willingness to fight for your potential. When you face resistance, the natural reaction is fear, frustration, or despair. But these are the emotions of the passive, of those who allow circumstance to dictate their destiny. The person who turns obstacles into fuel sees resistance as an invitation, a signal that something valuable is on the other side of struggle. Every difficulty is a message. If you want this, you must fight for it. If you want greatness, you must rise above this. The fuel is in the challenge itself. The energy is in the effort you put in to overcome. Turning obstacles into fuel requires perspective. You must reframe your thinking. Most people allow obstacles to define them. They allow failures to label them. They allow setbacks to convince them that they are not capable, that they are unlucky, that the world is against them. But perspective is power. When you see obstacles as fuel, you see them as opportunities. You see them as moments to grow, to sharpen your skills, to build resilience, to test your limits, to prove your strength. The obstacle is no longer the enemy. It is the teacher. It is the catalyst that forces you to dig deeper, to push harder, to become someone you would not be without the struggle. This principle also demands action. Seeing obstacles as fuel is not enough if you do not act on them. Fuel only works when it is burned. You must convert frustration into effort, setbacks into strategy, challenges into momentum. Every obstacle you face must become an excuse for more intensity, more focus, more relentless pursuit of your goals. When life says no, you say yes through action. When the world pushes back, you push harder. When doors close, you build a new door, break the wall, or find a way around. Obstacles are not signals to stop. They are signals to accelerate, to attack, to refuse, to be defeated. Turning obstacles into fuel also requires resilience. Resistance will not be one-time or gentle. Life is relentless in its challenges. You will be tested over and over in ways that are inconvenient, painful, and exhausting. The difference between those who fail and those who succeed is resilience, the ability to absorb the blow, recover, and keep moving forward. Each obstacle you face is a chance to strengthen your resilience. Each setback is a training ground for mental toughness, endurance, and courage. The more a dogfight, you learn to convert difficulties into fuel. The more unstoppable you become, because nothing outside of you can dictate your progress. Only your response can. Understand that turning obstacles into fuel also changes your relationship with fear and failure. Most people are paralyzed by fear because they see failure as a permanent state. They avoid risk because obstacles seem like evidence that they are not capable. But fuel is born in adversity. Failure is not a sentence. It is a lesson, a spark, a push forward. Obstacles provide clarity. They highlight weaknesses to be corrected, opportunities to be seized, and strengths to be amplified. When you embrace this, you begin to welcome challenges because you understand that in every difficulty lies the energy for growth. Fear is no longer a deterrent. It is a signal that you are on the right path, that the work is meaningful, that your potential is being tested. This principle also requires a proactive mindset. You cannot passively wait for life to hand you fuel. You must seek it. You must place yourself in situations where growth is possible, where challenge is inevitable, where risk is real. Comfort will never give you fuel. Easy paths, safe choices, predictable routines that do not ignite the fire of greatness They do not ignite the fire of greatness. Obstacles, discomfort, and struggle are the raw material for strength, confidence, and mastery. The more you willingly step into challenges, the more fuel you accumulate for your journey. Each problem, each difficulty, each trial becomes not something to dread, but something to harness for your ascent. Turning obstacles into fuel also requires reflection and learning. Every setback, every mistake, every resistance contains insights. You must extract the lesson, analyze the situation, adjust your strategy, and apply it immediately. Fuel is useless if it is wasted. Energy is wasted if it is unchanneled. Every obstacle, provides data. What works, what doesn't, what needs to change, what must be reinforced. Champions do not simply face challenges. They study them, learn from them, and leverage them to gain an advantage. They convert every adversity into a tool, a weapon, a catalyst for unstoppable momentum. Finally, understand the transformative power of this mindset. When you consistently turn obstacles into fuel, your life begins to change in ways that are unstoppable. Fear diminishes because challenge is familiar. Doubt loses its power because every obstacle has been conquered before. Momentum builds because every resistance faced becomes energy for the next step. You become someone who does not fear difficulty. You become someone who thrives on it. You become relentless because the world cannot break you. You become unstoppable because you have learned that nothing outside of you can limit your potential when you are committed to using every obstacle as fuel for growth, action, and achievement. So remember this: obstacles are inevitable, but defeat is optional. Resistance is guaranteed, but surrender is not. Life will throw challenges at you, but you have the power to convert them into energy, into determination, into relentless momentum. The key is your mindset, your response, your ability to see difficulty not as an enemy, but as fuel for growth. Embrace challenges, learn from setbacks, attack resistance with focus and intensity. Let every obstacle light a fire inside you that drives you further, pushes you harder, and propels you to heights you never imagined. Turn obstacles into fuel. And you do not just survive, you dominate, you conquer, you rise, and you achieve everything you were meant to. Now, after everything we've covered, you must understand this. Negative thinking is not some harmless voice inside your head. It is a thief, a saboteur, a destroyer of dreams. It lurks in you. Our hesitation, it hides. In your excuses, it waits for the moment you stop moving to strike. But here's the truth that will change everything. It has no power unless you give it power. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. You decide what thoughts stay and what thoughts go. You decide whether negativity defines you or whether action, persistence, and belief define you. Every strategy we've talked about, the awareness of your thoughts, the destruction of limiting beliefs, replacing doubt with action, challenging yourself, feeding your mind with positivity, pushing through mood swings, and converting obstacles into fuel. None of them work if you do not make the conscious, unshakable decision to apply them. I want you to feel this deeply. Life will test you. Life will push you down, whisper in your ear that you're not enough, that it's too hard, that you should quit. But those whispers aren't lies. They are the exact signals that you are on the right path, that growth is happening, that you are moving towards something bigger than your fears. Every time negative thinking tries to take hold, every time fear, doubt, or hesitation rises up, you respond with discipline, with action, with relentless energy. You respond by reminding yourself that you are stronger than your mind's attempts to hold you back. You respond by moving forward anyway. You respond by turning every obstacle, every failure, every challenge into fuel for your next victory. Remember, this is not about pretending the struggle doesn't exist. This is not about ignoring the pain, the fear, the doubt. This is about refusing to give those things control over your life. This is about training your mind to rise above the noise, to dominate the inner critic, to focus on what you can create instead of what you can. Negative thinking is powerful only if you let it be. Your thoughts become reality only if you allow them to. Shape your actions, take control, step into your power, doubt with belief, replace fear with action, replace doubt with belief. Replace hesitation with persistence. Replace limitation with opportunity. And here's the final truth. Your mind is your battlefield. Your life is your canvas. Every day you fight. Every day you choose action over despair, positivity over despair, positivity over defeat, growth over stagnation. You win. Every thought you kill. Every limiting belief you challenge, every obstacle you convert into fuel, you rise higher than you did yesterday. You are unstoppable when you refuse to allow negative thinking to dominate your mind, your decisions, your destiny. So leave this moment with one thing burned into your spirit. Do not wait for motivation. Do not wait for luck. Do not wait for someone else to save you. The power is inside you. It has always been inside you. Kill the negative thinking. Up in action. Embrace the struggle. Feed your mind. Push past your moods. Convert every obstacle into fuel. And when you do this, when you live this, when you refuse to give your thoughts authority to stop you, nothing in this world can hold you back. Your mind will become your greatest weapon, and your life will become your ultimate victory. The choice is yours. Fight, rise, conquer, and never let negativity control you again.